It's a new White Dwarf! Come check out the brand new White Dwarf for February 2017. This is the Fracture of Boucher. Spiky bits. Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Baer with you. Of course, today the cats are in the living room fighting over a box, and it's pandemonium! Let me tell you what, this White Dwarf is chock full of fun and exciting things. Once again, from the fantastic White Dwarf staff out there in Nottingham. Now, Matt Keefe, I'm sorry, but this picture making you look a little like Al from Tool Time back in the 90s, bro. I don't know if anybody has told you, but you need to look that up on the internet. I'm sorry, bro. But you're kind of dating yourself there. All right. Well, let's talk about the content. So obviously you need Fracture of Boucher. We got new Chocobos. We got new Zinches. We got Fate Weaver. We got all sorts of stuff going on in here. So cover feature, obviously going to talk a lot about the Boucher. We're not going to show all of it in here. There's another great Blanjitsu showcasing that Pilgrim army that was on display at Warhammer World about a month ago, I believe. Then we got an Epic Gaming Battle Report, Stormcast Eternals versus Tzeentch Demons, and the cover feature, of course, all of that right there, and all of the new Boucher, and there's even more on it. Now, of course, we have the new releases, which dominate pretty much the first half of the book. Now, you've probably seen all these pictures already spread all over the internet at some point throughout the week here as people started getting their White Dwarfs. Now, here in America, we're probably going to get our White Dwarfs late again. I didn't get my White Dwarf last month until the 15th, which I was incredibly disappointed with. I have not called Games Workshop, but I can tell you what, as soon as I do and get on the horn with them and see what they're going to do for me, I will make a whole separate video about that one because it has not come within 2 weeks of release since August, and I've been extremely disappointed with it, at least here in the States. And I live on North Carolina. They're shipping these out of Long Island. So, like, theoretically, I'm only like a 2-day ship away. I can't even imagine some of the folks out there on the West Coast, how frustrated they are. So there's a Fracture Boucher stuff, and it previews some of the upcoming data sheets right here, and some more stuff all throughout this whole... Actually, I didn't even look at that art. It looks like there's a who's he what's it. That's a Bloodthirster and a Greater Demon of Slaanesh of some sort. Some new art, new re-envisioned art right there. Really interesting stuff. And then the models themselves, we've seen all this. Path of Ynnari. More spoilers as to what exactly is happening with kind of the whole like going on trial in Boucher, and then going to Belial 4, which was where Celestine and her war party fled to in the first book, and then what's popping off in Ynnead as well. So apparently there's something happening in Ynnead as the craft roll fights for survival. A great hero dies defending it as the forces of chaos from the forces of chaos, but death is no longer a barrier it once was. A hero is reborn in the Eldar, and the Eldar head for Cassius. So lots of crazy stuff popping off right now in the 40k time of ending, or as they call it. And then, of course, Fate Weaver came out this week as well, and we're going to see a lot more coverage on him, I'm sure. And then all of the new releases, which everybody has pretty much seen to this point. I feel like I'm really excited for these Stormcast Eternal War Scroll cards. I've been screaming about this for years over on the Long War. I'm like, yo, give me my game aids. Games Workshop, Privateer Press does it. I will throw down some cash to buy these things and actually be able to play with them on the tabletop. And there they are, finally. Thank you so much, Games Workshop. And then it gets into more and more stuff that we're not going to really talk about. New release-wise, we got some more Stormcast Eternals coming out in February. More Stormcast Eternal and Griff Hounds. So kind of some new takes on old stuff. Death World Forest. And then, of course, the rules in here, which have already been spoiled on the internet as well. You can check out Spiky Bits for all of those breakdowns there. But it looks like the Death World Forest is a huge box set for $130. And it comes with all those mamma jammas right there. So lots of ginormous terrain that could be easily airbrushed and painted up very in an interesting manner. And then, of course, the Blood Bowl stuff came out. We have the Dwarven Giants, the new special Hall of Flame cards, and the Dwarven Pitch / Skaven Pitch that we were not able to get. I think it might have been online only, but I was not able to get it. It was a little disappointing, but it is what it is. Dawn of War 3 should also be out in the near future as promised, hopefully. We don't know yet, but that's what we're hearing. So should be interesting. And then, of course, Man of War Corsair. If you remember the old Fleet Battle game from the 1990s, it was pretty interesting. Then it gets into some more books, some audio books and things like that. and into the actual content itself. Now, I wanted to show you a couple of things in here that I was really digging. I want to show you everything. Some of the stuff hadn't been spoiled yet. So first off, we know there's going to be a third book to The Gathering Storm, and the artist says something about it's going to be golden, right? So, but I plan to make it brighter and more golden, like a spark of hope in a galaxy of darkness, which might fulfill the prophecy of Dante, which he foresees as him being the lone savior between the Emperor and the coming darkness, which could happen, could not happen. I'd love to see some more Blood Angels in action. And then it gets into more and more background sketch work and things like that for the Yvrain and Incarnate, and then the Vishark as well. Now remember, you can make this bad boy with two different weapon options, which are really interesting. Two different blades, or like this single blade kind of type deal if you don't want to hold in the symbol if you need. The Crone Swords of Moray Hag. Alright. Then it gets into some Age of Sigmar content. Nothing I want to show you. I do want to, which I really enjoyed those from the old White Dwarf. A new breed of Eldar. Alright, so here we got a lot more spoilers. You're going to want to read this whole section here. I'm not going to spoil it too much for you. Then it gets into the battle report, but there was... Nope, I'm not going to show it to you. Then it gets into the battle report, which is a great feature on Tzeentch, of course, versus the Stormcast. So there it is right there, and all the breakdown of the rules, or of the armies themselves. And then it gets into all the arrows and the dynamic battle mastery. Now, they have a little feature in here on the artwork. Now, I actually thought this was Raymond Swaland. This was the cover to the limited edition book, which I have right here, actually. It's a fantastic little cover. I would love to get an art print of that. It's a very fantastic piece of artwork. Very iconic, and I really enjoy looking at that one. But then they got a whole bunch in here, so that was a fun read. Then it gets to modeling and painting section, where they show you how to assemble in sub-assemblies, very similar to Baller Sirius, the Incarnate right here, and modeling and painting as well. And then it gets into Fate Weaver, which they don't really do in sub-assemblies. They just kind of like put them together and blast them with some blue, and they just kind of go from there. I'm sure Duncan will tell you to thin your blues down and paint this bad boy up here very, very shortly in the future. Looks like they're doing a lot of stippling and not so much on the hyper highlighting, and then going in and hitting it with the dry brush at the end. They also have the Zangor Skyfires and the Blue Horrors and the Brimstone Horrors in here as well. Now, talking about Chocobos, there they are. The brand new cavalry unit for the Stormcast, and they tell you to do that in sub-assemblies, spraying the tops, and then going in and painting the legs right there of the Chocobos, so that you can do them in those really dope colors, the Sybarite green, the Calibite green, the Temple Guard blues, and just all those crazy dark Eldar colors that I really enjoy. It's also the same recipe in the Stormcast Eternals book, How to Paint book. I think this is only $20 US, so it's actually a very good resource, along with the one for the Everchosen from the Chaos side of things there. Then it gets into some converting and just some terrain type deals to how to make your terrain look like the Death World stuff, Golden Demon action, then some new rules sections on the Silver Tower and Lost Patrol. Then it gets into these rules right here for the new terrain set. So lots and lots of content, lots and lots of features in here. More masterclass painting. This is way easier to do with an airbrush, but if you got that kind of time on your hands and you feel up to the challenge, definitely go for it, or it would literally take you less than 5 minutes to do with the airbrush. It would take you longer to edge highlight those edges with your regular brush than to do this whole section with an airbrush. And Kenny's got tons of tutorials on how to do it over on Next Level Painting. It's a YouTube channel. And then there's the Blanchitsu. Get into the back, very ominous important, with Gathering Storm continues in March. So chances are we are going to see the last Gathering Storm book drop in March, after all the Stormcast stuff at the end of towards the end of February. So it looks to be a very exciting time in the hobby, heading on into February. It's going to be super crazy. I mean, I am very much looking forward to this Triumvirate. I can't wait to see get the book in my hands, my hot little hands, and read all up, because I think Eldrad ain't gonna make it to Bad Boys 3 now. I don't think he's gonna make it out of this book, but we're gonna see. we're definitely going to see there. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, folks. Please leave in the comments if you have gotten your White Dwarf on time at all in the United States. I'm just wondering, because it's becoming very difficult to stay positive about that situation there. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.